The Mary Celeste, a merchant brigantine, has captured the imagination of countless historians, adventurers, and mystery enthusiasts ever since its enigmatic discovery adrift in the Atlantic Ocean on December 4th, 1872. The ship was found in a state of apparent abandonment, with its sails still set, its cargo untouched, and its provisions intact. The most unsettling detail was that the crew was nowhere to be found. The ship had been abandoned under mysterious circumstances, and the fate of the men who had once manned her has remained one of the greatest unsolved maritime mysteries. The Mary Celeste was built in 1861 in Spencer's Island, Nova Scotia, and was originally named the Amazon. It was a sturdy ship, measuring 99 feet long, and was primarily used for transporting cargo. Her reputation in the shipping industry was that of a reliable vessel, and she had previously completed several successful voyages. However, it was in 1872 that the Mary Celeste would become infamous for a journey that would leave her fate and the fate of her crew forever in question. Captain Benjamin Briggs, a respected and experienced mariner, was at the helm of the Mary Celeste during its ill-fated voyage. He was accompanied by his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, as well as a crew of 7 men. The ship departed from New York City on November 7, 1872, bound for Genoa, Italy, with a cargo of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol. The voyage was expected to last several weeks, but something went horribly wrong somewhere along the way. According to the ship's log, all was well until the morning of November the 25th, when Captain Briggs made his last entry. The ship was on course and had experienced fair weather. However, the next entry was made on December 4th, when the ship was found by the Dei Gratia, another merchant ship commanded by Captain David Morehouse. The Mary Celeste was discovered abandoned in the Atlantic Ocean, about 400 miles east of the Azores, an archipelago in Portugal. It was drifting aimlessly, with no one aboard. Upon boarding the ship, the crew of the Dei Gratia was baffled. The Mary Celeste appeared to be in good condition and seaworthy. The sails were still set, though they had been partially furled. The ship's wheel was still in place, suggesting that the vessel had not been abandoned in a hurry. The cabin and officers' quarters showed no signs of violence or struggle. The ship's logs were intact, but the last entry was dated nearly 9 days prior. Strangely, the lifeboat, which could hold the entire crew, was missing, but no evidence of a violent departure or disaster was found. Even the cargo was untouched. In fact, the cargo of alcohol was largely intact, with only about 9 barrels being found to have been displaced. The most unsettling discovery was that the personal belongings of the crew, including their clothes and valuables, were missing, but there was no sign of a struggle. The ship's provisions, including food and fresh water, were also untouched. In fact, there was enough food and water on board to last the crew for months. The ship's logs, too, gave no indication of any distress or unusual circumstances before the crew's disappearance. One of the most perplexing aspects of the Mary Celeste mystery was that the ship's water pump was in an unusually high state of disrepair, leading some to speculate that the ship had suffered a slow leak that might have caused the crew to panic. Yet, there was no evidence of water in the hold, and the ship had not been damaged in any way that would suggest it was sinking. This left many to wonder why the crew would have abandoned the ship if it was still seaworthy. Several theories have been proposed over the years to explain the mysterious abandonment of the Mary Celeste. Some have suggested that the crew may have been the victims of a pirate attack, but there is no evidence of violence or any sign of the ship being boarded. Others believe that the crew may have abandoned the ship due to a fear of the cargo, denatured alcohol, a volatile substance that could potentially ignite in certain conditions. However, the absence of fire damage or any signs of an explosion makes this theory unlikely. Another theory posits that a sudden and violent storm may have struck the ship, forcing the crew to take refuge in the lifeboat. Yet, no storm was recorded in the area at the time of the ship's abandonment, and the weather had been relatively calm. The ship's logs also show no indication of any unusual weather patterns in the days leading up to the abandonment. Some have speculated that the crew may have been suffering from a form of collective panic or mental disturbance, possibly triggered by an event or condition that remains unknown. This could explain the hasty abandonment of the ship without any apparent reason, although it does not account for the fact that the ship was still sailing smoothly when it was discovered. The possibility of foul play has also been suggested, particularly in light of the disappearance of the lifeboat. Some have proposed that the ship's captain and crew may have been murdered, with the perpetrators leaving the ship after taking whatever valuables they could find. However, there is no concrete evidence to support this theory, and the lack of any signs of violence or bloodshed makes it seem unlikely. Over the years, the mystery of the Mary Celeste has inspired numerous books, articles, and even films. The ship's story has become a symbol of the unknown and an enduring example of a maritime enigma that defies explanation. Despite the many theories that have been put forward, the true cause of the crew's disappearance remains a mystery to this day. In the years following the discovery of the abandoned ship, the Mary Celeste changed hands several times. It was eventually sold to new owners, but its reputation as a cursed vessel persisted. The ship itself continued to sail for a number of years before being abandoned once more, this time for good, in 1885. The ship was eventually sold for scrap, but the mystery of its crew's disappearance continues to captivate those interested in maritime history and unsolved mysteries. The fate of the crew of the Mary Celeste remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in maritime history. No evidence has ever been found to explain their disappearance, and the true cause of the events of December 4th, 1872 remains a subject of speculation and intrigue. While theories abound, the mystery of the Mary Celeste serves as a haunting reminder of the unpredictability of the sea and the many stories that have yet to be told.